Ever wonder what goes on behind the scenes at like your favorite sports team
Yeah.
or event? We're about to take a deep dive into this whole complex world of sport organizations.
Mhm.
And trust me, it is so much more interesting than you might think.
It really is.
Yeah.
What's fascinating is that most people just see the athletes in the games,
Right.
but they don't realize there's this massive network of
Like a
organizations.
whole support system.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that are just working behind the scenes tirelessly to make it all happen.
Exactly. And we're going to explore that network. We've
Yeah.
got research reports, even some historical Canadian sport policy documents.
Oh, wow.
It's a real mix, but our goal is to kind of figure out how these organizations work.
Okay.
It's kind of like we're peeking behind the curtain of the sports world.
Exactly. And to understand how these organizations work, you got to start with some fundamentals,
Okay.
which are organizational theory and organizational behavior,
Okay. So let's unpack those.
often called OT and OB.
OT and OB.
Okay.
I'll admit they sound a little dry. Why are those so important to understanding, say, my local hockey league?
Well, think of OT as like the blueprint of the league,
Okay.
how it's structured, the different roles and committees, the flow of communication. It's basically like the rule book that everybody has to follow.
So that's OT.
Yep.
Okay, where does OB fit into all this?
Okay.
It's like the spirit of the league or something.
You got OB is all about the people,
Yeah.
the players, the coaches, parents, referees even.
Right.
It's their motivations, how they interact, and just the overall culture of the league.
Uh-huh.
Basically, a successful organization needs a good structure
Yeah.
and like a positive, productive environment.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that saying, there's no I in team.
Exactly.
You can have the best players in the world, but if they don't work well together,
Right.
they're not going to win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A perfect analogy.
And that leads us to the actions that kind of bring this all together. The key management functions.
Yes.
Our sources call this POLE.
Mm-hmm.
Planning, organizing, leading, and evaluating.
Yes.
POLE, gotta love a good acronym.
Right.
But I'm guessing it's more than just a catchy phrase.
Oh, for sure.
So how does this POLE actually play out in a real sports organization?
Okay, so imagine a major sporting event is coming to a Canadian city.
Okay.
Maybe it's the World Juniors Hockey Tournament.
Okay, yeah.
The planning stage would be everything from setting the budget and getting the money, figuring out ticket prices, marketing strategies.
Like the whole shebang.
Yeah, the whole roadmap to success.
Okay, yeah.
Then you move to organizing,
Organizing.
which I bet is a logistical nightmare for a big event like that.
I can only imagine.
You have to coordinate volunteers, transportation, security accommodations for all the teams.
Right.
That's where the organizing comes in.
Okay.
You need the right people, the right roles,
Okay.
good communication, crazy attention to detail.
Oh, yeah. If you don't have that.
If you're lacking in that area,
Yeah,
the whole
yeah.
event could fall apart.
Right.
And-
Okay, so things are moving now. We got the plan. We got a solid team.
Yep,
Now we need someone to lead.
exactly.
I imagine good leadership is crucial, especially in high-pressure environments like that.
Absolutely. Leadership is about inspiring and motivating everyone,
Okay.
from volunteers to the athletes.
Yeah.
A great leader creates a shared vision,
Right.
builds teamwork,
Yeah.
and empowers people to do their best.
Yeah, it's like those coaches you see that really get the most out of their players,
Exactly.
even when things are tough.
Like they rally the troops.
Yeah.
Make everyone believe they can achieve anything.
Right. And finally, we have evaluating.
Yes.
So this is where we see if all that planning, organizing, and leading actually paid off.
Precisely. Evaluation is about measuring progress, analyzing results,
Yeah.
identifying areas for improvement.
Yeah.
Did we meet attendance goals? Were the sponsors happy?
Right.
Was the media coverage good?
Makes
And most importantly, what can we learn for next time?
So it's like a cycle.
It is a cycle.
You plan, organize, lead,
Yes.
evaluate,
Wow.
and then you use those insights to plan for the next event or season.
Exactly. And that POLE framework.
Right.
It's not just some abstract concept.
Yeah.
It's literally the backbone of any successful sports organization,
Okay.
whether it's a small community club or a national governing body.
And speaking of national organizations,
Yeah.
let's talk about the Canadian sports system.
Okay.
Now, we've touched on some of the key players.
Yeah.
But what makes Canada's approach to sport unique?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's a surprisingly complex one.
Okay.
But before we dive into the specifics, I think it's helpful to understand the history.
Okay, so let's rewind the clock.
Right.
When did Canada really start thinking about like a national approach to sport?
A really important moment was the Fitness and Amateur Sport Act,
Okay.
passed back in 1961.
Wow. Okay.
This was a huge shift where the government recognized the importance of promoting physical activity and sport for all Canadians.
So it was about more than just winning Olympic medals.
Yeah.
It was about creating like a culture of sports and fitness
Exactly.
across the country. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
The Fitness and Amateur Sport Act led to the creation of Sport Canada,
Okay.
which is a federal agency totally dedicated to developing and promoting sport at all levels.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it also meant funding
Oh, wow.
to support amateur sport and fitness initiatives every year.
That sounds like a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it really laid the foundation for a more organized
Yeah.
and strategic approach to sport
Yeah.
in Canada.
Yeah, like it seems like things really started to change after that.
For sure, it was a crucial step,
Okay.
but the story doesn't end there.
Right.
Over time, Canada's sports system has evolved,
Yeah.
shaped by new policies, changing societal values,
Makes sense.
even major events and scandals.
Ooh, that's what I love about these deep dives. There's always more to uncover.
Always something.
So what happened next in this evolution of Canadian sport?
Good.
What were some of the key turning points that kind of shaped the system we see today?
Well, if you think back to the 1970s, Canada was really starting to make its mark on the international stage,
Yeah.
especially at the Olympics.
We were going for the gold.
Right.
So how did that ambition affect sport policy?
Well, it led to the creation of Game Plan in 1976,
Okay.
a program designed to boost Canada's performance in international competitions.
Okay.
The focus was on getting more resources to high-performing athletes.
So like funding and training facilities, that kind of thing.
Exactly, with the goal of winning more medals.
Okay, but did that focus on elite athletes mean that grassroots sports got left behind?
That's a good question,
Yeah.
and it was definitely debated at the time.
Yeah.
But Canada has always tried to keep a balance
Yeah.
between supporting top athletes
Uh-huh.
and promoting participation in sports for everyone.
Right.
Remember, community involvement and volunteerism.
Right. Yeah, like huge in Canadian sport culture.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, just think about all those parents who coach kids' soccer teams
Right.
or run the concession stands at hockey games.
Exactly.
It's a real community effort.
It is. And that brings us to another interesting thing about the Canadian sports system.
Okay.
It's not just a top-down structure.
Okay.
You have this mix of nonprofit organizations,
Okay.
government agencies, and even private businesses
Yeah.
all working together.
It's like a team effort on a bigger scale.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do they all actually work together?
Okay, so let's say you have a local sports club.
Okay.
They might get funding from the city for facility upgrades.
All right.
Then they partner with the business for sponsorship,
Okay.
and they still rely heavily on volunteers to coach teams and organize events.
Right, so it's all connected.
Yeah, it's a real team effort.
Okay, so we've got this unique blend of grassroots involvement,
Yeah,
government support, and private sector engagement.
exactly.
What other key policies kind of shaped the landscape of Canadian sport? Well, leading up to the 1988 Calgary Winter Olympics,
Oh, yeah.
there was a big push for excellence, which was captured in the Best Ever program.
Okay.
It was all about maximizing Canada's performance on home soil.
The Calgary Olympics, that must have been amazing for Canadian sport.
It was a really exciting time,
Yeah.
but that same year also had a really dark moment.
Oh, what was that?
The Ben Johnson doping scandal.
Oh, right, the 100-meter dash.
Yeah,
That was a huge shock. I remember that.
it was a big deal.
It really tarnished the image of sport in Canada and around the world.
Absolutely, and it led to some major changes.
Okay.
The Dubin Inquiry was launched to investigate drug use in athletics.
Right, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, and their findings led to big reforms in anti-doping policies and procedures.
It was a tough time, but it ultimately led to positive change.
Exactly, and that brings us to another key moment.
Okay.
The release of the Sport in Canada report in 1998,
Okay.
often called the Mills Report.
Okay.
This report took a look at the entire sports system, and it emphasized the need for stronger leadership,
Okay.
more collaboration, and more accountability.
So they were trying to build like a stronger, more ethical system.
Yeah, one that could handle future challenges.
Right, makes sense.
The Mills Report also highlighted a really important principle:
What's that?
everybody's business.
Okay.
It's the idea that sport belongs to all Canadians,
I like that.
no matter their age, ability, or background.
Yeah, that's a great message.
Yeah.
So we've gone from those early days of promoting fitness and amateur sport
Yeah.
to a much more complex system focused on high performance, ethical conduct, and inclusivity.
Exactly.
But how do those big policies actually translate into action?
Right.
How does a sports organization put those principles into practice?
That's where strategic planning comes in.
Okay.
It's how you connect those big ideas to real results.
So let's talk strategy.
Okay.
How do sports organizations plan for success?
All right.
Is there like a secret formula?
I wish it were that easy. But our sources do talk about a 4-step process
Okay.
that a lot of sports organizations use for strategic planning.
Okay, what's the first step?
It all starts with analysis.
Analysis. Okay,
Wow.
analysis. Okay, so what does that involve?
It's about understanding where the organization stands right now.
Okay.
It's like scouting your opponent before a big game.
Uh-huh.
You gotta know your strengths and weaknesses,
Okay.
but also the opportunities and threats in the bigger picture.
So like a SWOT analysis.
Exactly.
Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities,
Yep.
threats.
Yep.
I remember learning about that in business school.
It applies to everything.
Okay.
From a small swing club
Yeah.
to a pro sports team.
Okay, so let's say my local swim club wants to get more members.
Okay.
How would they use analysis?
They'd have to look at their current facilities,
Okay.
the people in their community,
Okay.
how popular other activities are,
Uh-huh.
even the cost of renting the pool.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've analyzed the situation. What's the next step in this strategic planning process?
That's when we get to visioning.
Okay.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
It's about figuring out the organization's core purpose,
Mm-hmm.
their long-term goals, what they want to achieve.
So, like, where do you want to go? What's the big dream?
Exactly.
How do they actually figure that out?
A lot of organizations use mission and vision statements.
Okay, so what's the difference?
The mission statement is why the organization exists.
Okay.
Its core values.
Okay.
For example, the Canadian Soccer Association.
Yeah.
Their mission is to lead the development and growth of soccer in Canada.
Okay, so it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, nice and clear.
Yeah.
It guides everything they do.
So that's their mission. What about their vision?
The vision statement is more about the future,
Okay.
what they want to achieve.
The big goal.
Yeah, like the Canadian Paralympic Committee.
Uh-huh.
Their vision is to be the world's leading Paralympic nation,
Wow.
inspiring Canadians through the power of sport.
That's a good one.
Pretty ambitious, right?
Yeah, very inspiring.
Yeah.
But how do you go from these big statements to actually doing something?
Right, that's where the action stage comes in.
Okay.
That's where you develop the strategies and plans
Mhm.
to reach those goals.
So it's like a playbook.
Exactly.
Okay.
If the vision is to win a championship,
Yeah.
the action plan is how you're going to train,
Uh-huh.
who you're going to recruit,
Okay.
the game plan for each opponent.
So you're breaking those big goals down.
Yeah, into smaller steps.
Okay, plan's in motion.
Yeah.
Everyone's working hard. What's the final step?
Last but not least is control.
Control. Okay.
This is all about keeping things on track,
You okay?
making sure you're making progress
Mhm.
and getting the results you want.
So it's like the coach watching the game,
Exactly.
making changes as needed.
You got to be flexible, adapt to changes,
Go.
and make sure you're hitting your targets.
Okay, so strategic planning, it's not just a one-time thing.
No, it's a continuous process.
Always evolving.
Yeah, you're always evaluating, learning,
Yeah.
making adjustments.
This has been so insightful.
Yep,
We've
yep.
really gone deep into how sports organizations work.
Yeah, from the basics.
Yeah, like organizational theory and behavior
Mm-hmm.
to those key management functions.
Yep.
We even looked at how the Canadian sports system has changed over time.
Right, from the very beginning.
And how strategic planning helps organizations turn their big dreams into reality.
Exactly. And what's amazing is that all these principles,
Yeah.
they apply to all kinds of sports organizations.
Right.
From small community clubs
Yeah.
to national governing bodies,
Uh-huh.
even international ones like the IOC.
It's amazing to think about all the people behind the scenes
It really is.
making it all happen.
All those people working so hard.
So next time you're watching a game,
Yeah.
think about everything that led up to that moment.
All the effort.
The training, strategies,
The dedication.
all those individuals who played a part.
Yeah. It's more than just wins and losses.
Exactly. It's about human potential,
Yeah.
dedication, and teamwork.
That's what makes it so exciting.
And that's what makes it so captivating.
Absolutely.
So until next time, keep diving deep